Okay, this is Athena StarSeed, and we are doing our Pranic StarBody Activation lecture series, and we are on 8 out of 11. This is amazing. I have Elitom El-amin and Athena StarSeed. I just want to welcome everybody. Take a nice deep breath, and we'll pray everybody in before we start. Inhale. Exhale. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light return to earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men and women. May the Christ consciousness return to earth. In the center, where the will of God is known, let the centers guide the little wills of men, the center which the masters know and serve. And may it seal the door where doubt dwells. May the plan of love, light, and power restore heaven on earth. Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, Father Sky, Mother Earth, and the point of light that connects us all. Please be here in the sacred circle of light for Elitom and Athena to be clear channels for all involved. Amen and amen. We're in.
All right. We are here. This is good. And this is good because I'm here right now in, as I'm traveling around spreading the message, I'm here in Chicago, Illinois, and we're here at a Breatharian retreat. This just shows you how everybody, everywhere I go, want to get more of the information. And just like every time as we're given this information, they talk about how, thank you, it sounds so practical, so easy, because it's not far-fetched and it's not hard to do. But the main thing that people are learning as we talk more about this type of path or this type of journey is how user-friendly it is, and how you got all these things that are working for you in life. And that's the mindset we got to get about feeling good. And this shouldn't be a chore. Even when we talk about meditation and being consistent, don't make it a chore, because that's a lot of stress within itself. Oh, I missed a day, or maybe I won't make it, or maybe I'll fail. It don't have nothing to do with that. So this is good as we teach this user-friendly knowledge. And as we're getting together to come out to California to really get a good package together for the people as we grow individuals and as we grow collectively into this unity consciousness. You gotta love it.
I am so excited, and I want to talk a little bit about devotion, because with the pranic path, there's a lot of light coming into the body. And I know that you're not religious, although you came from a very spiritual background, but can you talk about your experiences with devotion or light as your pranic journey started increasing?
Oh, absolutely. And see, on this concept, there's a saying that says, so above, so below. A lot of the things we're doing in the physical realm is the same concept that you need for the spiritual realm. In other words, as we was talking before about successful people who's billionaires, one thing they had in common was discipline, consistency, having a plan laid out. So even though you're dealing with the spiritual realm, which is unseen forces, you still need that type of motivation, of a dedication that we're saying, to stay consistent and to stay disciplined and watch everything grow. See, we're using a word too that's called spiritual cultivation. And that word cultivation, when you look at it, that's something that a farmer uses, or somebody who's in the garden, to cultivate a plant so it could grow up right, so it could grow up strong, so it could grow up under the right conditions. So you could watch how the weeds will grow around it. You can pull them out. Other animals won't eat it, other bugs, so it could get strong enough to grow. So when we talk about, but that takes dedication again. You see how it's related? We could grab something from the physical realm and put it into a spiritual context. So therefore, when you're spiritually growing to get more light into the body, you're cultivating yourself just like a plant. It's no different. You're constantly being aware of putting yourself in the right conditions so that you can grow. Even here at the retreat, we're doing a meditation, and everybody was fascinated with it on how simple it was and how much energy that the body automatically was willing to collect on its own. But again, what everybody learned was the awareness that this energy that we're talking about grabbing more light into the body, it already exists. The cosmic energy is already doing this job. But it takes two factors. It takes the cosmic energy, which is doing this job, but it also takes self-knowledge. And with this self-knowledge, one thing is knowing something, but wisdom is when you apply what you know. And that right there takes a dedication so you can see the power that grows from it, so you can bring forth a transformation. So that's why we want to dedicate ourselves on this journey so that we can see our fruits as we go into this. And you'd be surprised how fast the development will take place when a person is dedicated and serious on going on this path.
So yesterday I went to see a good friend of mine. I told you, Swami Baba Nataraj.
Yes.
And he's a wisdom keeper, and he's an amazing being. And I told you, I promised you I'd show you his picture. This is it.
Oh, yeah.
See that? He's got a little squirrel there. I'm a piece of squirrels. And so you were talking about plants. He gave me a dandelion plant, a dandelion.
Wow.
And it's full of life and full of prana. And we were talking about being able to digest the sunlight like a plant. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's so many gifts in the sun that we don't realize, but there's so many gifts everywhere. So right. We were talking last time about a fish being in water and not knowing it. You're around this light, and sometimes you can feel separated and lonely. So if you're unconscious of it, we want to bring forward the consciousness of that light towards what's already there. So you shift awareness from lack to abundance, mm-hmm. Because you know that there's nutrients always coming to this plant no matter what. We don't have to think.
No matter what. Absolutely. We're on the same wavelength because that's what we have to be on. So again, it's dealing with perception is everything. Perception is everything. So even as I'm sitting here teaching the people that's around me, all I'm doing is giving them a different way to look at things. And the energy is already here. That's why there's many different levels of a truth on top of each other as you keep on growing. That's why they say truth has the ability to become extinct. What that means is one level you could be at a thought process where it is helping you. It is benefiting you in that season. But as you take on more knowledge and take on more growth, that old thing that used to help you, you don't need it no more. And you can grow into more of the light, more into the consciousness. See, the light is consciousness. See, we're playing around with this word, you know, because it's a bunch of words. One level we're using consciousness, another level we're using light, another word we're using cosmic energy. But we're all talking about the same thing.
Or love.
The nutrient. Huh?
Or love. You're talking about love.
About love. All these words is the same thing. And this is what's confusing everybody. But when you can break it all down that we're talking about the same thing and we're living in it, it's going through us, there is no lack. See, what makes a breatharian different than the average person is they just became good at knowing the resources that's around them and know how to extract the energy from it. The average person is walking around with all these resources around them, but don't know they exist or don't know how to extract the energy from it. So when you come into this knowledge and teaching, a person is just showing you how to extract the power that's already in you and around you. Everybody has access to it. It's sort of like you're rubbing a genie's lamp. You got this big genie that's ready to serve you on everything you want. So that's why everybody is creating their own reality. But we got to understand how crucial it is to be dedicated and maintain our thought process so that we can bring forth a better reality. It all goes back to us at the end of the day. So therefore, like we were saying before, it isn't about you trying to gain power or take power. That don't exist. The power is already there to be given to you. It's yours. And this is what we call self-empowerment, self-realization. All these other words we're using for some type of empowerment. And this is so much power that when you can learn this, because just like that plant you just showed us, that's why in all the ancient civilizations, they used the symbology of a tree, the tree of life. Everybody was talking about this tree. That's a human being. That's why when you go to a family reunion, what do you talk about? The family tree, the roots, the ancestors. That's why everybody's there. Everybody's connected. Branches is coming off. This family got created. This family is being started. You got the old aunts and uncles. It's one continual big tree that we're on. And we're a part of that tree. So this is a good thing. But the thing about it, they talk about two aspects of the same tree. One was the tree of what? Life, which is a continual tree. This self-sustaining. This is what the knowledge we're learning. The universe is user-friendly. You got abundance all around you. That's what nature shows you. And then the other tree of good and evil is just a tree that, through its perception, has lack in it. It's looking at 1 minute is good, and then it's getting knocked 2 feet backwards. It's the same parts of the same symbology that we're talking about. So therefore, again, bringing this light into the body, we have to upgrade this equipment, which we call the body, but it is the mind. There is no separation. So the more we align our physical bodies and open it up for more light, you are expanding your consciousness.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to, you were going to talk about in the later part of this lecture series, the Kabbalah and the tree of life. And you were going to talk about, yeah, go ahead. So let's begin with that because.
Oh, and I love it. See, the Kabbalah, that's been out for a long time, but the knowledge have really gotten upgraded within the last decade. That just showed you how everything, our knowledge has increased on how we interpret things. And even when you're dealing with the Kabbalah, just look at that word, Ka-Ba. Now that takes us to Egypt again. You got the Ka, which is the light. You got the Ba, which is the physical personality. But they must merge and become one in this day of age that we're in. And even when your Muslims travel to Mecca, guess where they're going to? The Kaaba. They're talking the same thing. So everybody got the same information, but see, deception is just a misinterpretation of thoughts and ideas. Once we equal out these definitions on everybody's getting trapped into and find out that you're talking the same thing, the roadmap is clear for everybody. So dealing with this tree of life again, even though I'm here in Chicago and we was working with the energy this morning, everybody was talking about how high it was, how it feels. But then I had to let them know that everywhere you go, this energy is there. When I was in India, it was there. When I was in Africa, it was there. When I was in Israel, it was there. New York, I was there. It doesn't matter. When I come to LA, this same energy is going to be there. But we being a tree that can be sustained by it is everywhere. That's why it's for all cultures, all nations, all tongue. The tree of life, which is a person, is making this resurrection of being self-sustaining. You understand? Eradicating illness, eradicating sickness, disease, because now we know where these things is coming from. And I love that dandelion you got. And you know what? There was people who used to look at that as just being a weed until the knowledge had to increase. It could do so much. It can make teas, tinctures, all of this good stuff you could do with a dandelion.
And now what you can do, just like the Celestine prophecy, you can hold your energy out to the dandelion and ask for the energy transfer and share energy and not eat the dandelion.
And not eat the dandelion. Right.
The dandelion has feelings too. The dandelion has feelings too.
Absolutely. That's where we're at again. Where you don't even have to harm the dandelion. Wonderful. And see, and look at the greenery of it. See, even on that symbology, it's telling a story. We know that that's chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is good at working with light. We give that credit as working with photosynthesis, but our hemoglobin, which we call our blood, basically works the same as chlorophyll. They're both actually are similar. So we're doing the same thing as working with photosynthesis also. We're just a different organism, but we have a relationship because every time we breathe in oxygen, that tree is giving us oxygen. And then when we breathe out, we're giving a tree carbon dioxide to breathe, and we have this relationship going with each other. I even told somebody last night, if we trapped in this room away from their environment and, trapped off the oxygen and everything, Of course, a human being will have a hard time, or any animal living in this room. But you put a bunch of plants in here, that human being will live because they'll keep each other alive on their exchange of these chemicals, these change of these forces. So we are closer to nature than anybody can really realize. That's man's problem, to wake back up and understand this relationship we have with nature, with the cosmos, with the consciousness that is the glue that holds everything together.
Now, I want to mention something very magical and also too down to earth and grounded, so people can try this on their own to see. But you can take fruit, live fruit, and put them on you when you're sick, and the energy does transfer because there's a life force, and those fruits actually can give you more prana without even eating them, holding them. So I had some shamans before help me heal by giving me fruit to put on my dantian, my lower abdomen, and I transferred the life force. And there's one other story where a woman and her son went off of a bridge, and he went underwater, and it was ice, and he was under there for such a long amount of time, but they ended up resuscitating him, and she came and she was transferring her energy to his life force and brought him back from a coma, because she had her friends come and they all would say prayers next to him and put their energy on him and think of him coming back and transferring light. And he actually got the energy transfer. So whether it's intentional or non-intentional, or awareness or unaware, we do have access to this energy exchange that's happening all the time.
All the time. And what we call it on a regular everyday level, synergy. The synergy of people. Everybody, I know you had this conversation going once upon a time, and then as soon as you got around somebody, they either said what you was talking about, they picked it up. We already mind reading each other just by our collective fields. And not only that, like you said, on these energy transfers. Again, we got tree attunements, plant attunements, where you touch the tree and you get the energy from it and so forth. We got attunements dealing with the sun, dealing with the moon, dealing with the earth, dealing with each other, people. You got the attunements from a master giving a student an attunement. You know, we learn about that, but then again, you could give energy back to a master. A master is just a title we're giving somebody, but at the same time, it's people. The tree of life again. So once you come in awareness of this knowledge, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because when we bring up breatharianism, or, you know, being self-sustaining, people was just grabbing one thing, trying to become breatharian. So they'll just deal with the food part. But it's a collective idea of a whole lifestyle. Everything you're doing, the words you talk, the people you're hanging around, the atmosphere you're in, how you breathe, how you allow the energy to conduct through the body without blocking it. In other words, living a stressless life. Less stress. Stress is the enemy on many different levels. And therefore, you will find out how much energy transfers to take place and master true nourishment. That's it right there.
So let's talk about the breath a little bit, because when you're talking about light, it lends itself to pulling in more light with the breath and slowing the breath down, and how when you have slower, deeper, longer breaths per minute, you have access to higher enlightenment.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that about the breath slowing down. Usually when a person learns about breath work, they deal with rapid breathing. Usually that's necessary to open up the channels. The person is new to it. They're learning how to breathe, learning how to take in more oxygen, the energy from the air. So you start out with the rapid breaths, more breaths. Okay, nobody's arguing that. But over a period of time, as more of your energy channels open up, you're able to bring in more light within the body, more energy, more oxygen. The cells get more oxygenated. Then you start working on the slower breaths. The slower breath equals longer life. That's why we talk about the tortoise. His breath is a whole different than us when he's under that water and stuff, and different animals like that. And even though you're a dolphin and stuff, he still breathes oxygen. He's out living in the ocean. This is amazing, isn't it? But again, there's so much dealing with the breath on slowing it down. And I like that, because when you're dealing with the rhythms of the universe, it is going in octaves. There's a certain beat that's taking place. And you're actually aligning yourself with that beat. See, when we was offbeat, of course, you're more in a rapid breath because you're out of health. That's what it is. That's why this is a health message. But the more you get into the beat, the in-breath and the out-breath of everything that's vibrating, you will find out your own breath to start slowing itself down. The more and more your health will improve. Like I said, what was an interesting experiment for myself is when I came to America and I went on to that 700-mile bike ride. Didn't even train for it. But what was amazing was how my body transformed itself throughout the years. The breath was actually not rapid from all of that movement. It was more slow, more down to earth. And people couldn't believe that I was actually traveling that far and didn't look like I was out of breath or famished. A whole nother energy you're picking up because you're picking up a whole nother energy source. So slow. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm interested in that bike ride because as an athlete, I told you before I had to eat meat and carbo load to do 50-mile bike rides. But you're just telling me you not only did a 333-mile bike ride from Philadelphia to DC, but you went and did 700?
700 total.
On water? On what?
Oh, no, on nothing. The meditations and the Qigongs. This is why this was such a great thing for me. And when I made it to Columbus and I'm sitting there, my son and them was with me, so I gave the bike to him. This was even amazing for me on how the body, I sat there in front of everybody, I'm in shape. I know it. I'm in health. Look what I just did. I did it. I had the experience. I know what this body can do. So then I got bold when I was in Columbus and I walked 120 miles up through Ohio. I wanted to go on a walking journey. So I did all of this since I've been here. This is incredible.
This is amazing. So does your body reabsorb your fluids to give you hydration so that when you're losing water, when you're breathing as an athlete, it's regenerating? How's that happening?
Okay, now what's taking place is, now, first of all, you have to be in that cycle to train yourself to go longer without water. In other words, you got to get rid of the mucus in your system. That's why a person gets thirsty. It's all about the mucus. Oh. Mucus is created on everything you eat. And mucus is that slimy film that when a person wakes up in the morning, they start spitting up that film out of their throat and all of this and all this other stuff. And we think that's normal, but it's not normal. It don't have to be normal. But the body created it in order to help you. Because if you're choosing to eat something, it created that slimy substance so the food could pass through your body more smoothly. That's why it did it. So that's why there's a thing called the mucusless diet. But what they're saying in that diet is, that was invented by, I believe, Arnhart, whatever his name was, Arnold something. But anyway, it's the mucusless diet. And what he was talking about was more fruits, but also more fasting into your lifestyle. And that's how he healed a lot of his diseases. And this book was written over 100 years ago. So right now, we're just picking up the things. We ain't making nothing up new. Right, you can actually retrain your body to start grabbing these elements and making what it needs. Now, when you deal with water, you deal with H2O. You're talking about the oxygen and also hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. But see, you got to look at this word. There's a thing called dehydration and hydration. And the fat cells in your body actually have the hydrogen there. So that's why even when a person is dry fasting, you can even put this to the test, they'll have to use the bathroom on urinating. Where did all of this water come from? So your body is grabbing water out of the atmosphere to cleanse itself from that old water. So that's why when a person is fasting, why keep peeing? Where is this coming from? So, oh, this is so good. And everywhere you go, see, this is an awareness now, because after I get back here, I got to teach people about this part. Right now, where you're sitting, there's what? Moisture in the atmosphere. It's everywhere you go, even in the dry temperatures. Because when I brought this up to a person, we was in India where it was real hot, and I said, there's moisture in the atmosphere. They was filling the atmosphere on a very, very hot day and said, you're right, Elitom. Everywhere I go, I feel it. But if you're not aware of it, you don't know. Now, the body is an excellent absorber of substances. Hands down, it's excellent at it. That's why
a sponge. We're like a
it's
sponge.
like a sponge.
We can breathe in through our auric field and our skin.
Right. So even when we was talking about breath work, see, even breath work, we just think it's in your nose, in your mouth. Your whole body is breathing. That's why you're doing a breath training to breathe with your whole being. You just don't eat with your mouth. That's what we're teaching people. You eat with your whole being. This is what you're opening up to.
And see, now that's something, go ahead.
Oh, so even when we was talking about brahmachari, you know, the celibate adventures, when you start allowing your body to reabsorb the sexual fluid back in it. So I'm bringing that up because this is an excellent absorber, like a sponge of energy. So therefore, when you start getting rid of that mucus, because even people who fast a lot or who did extended fasting, not only they say that their hunger decrease, their thirst decrease. Because the more mucus you get out of your system, you don't have that thirsty feeling. You only feel thirsty when you got the mucus in your system. This is it. But again, you got to put yourself to have this experience to understand what I'm talking about. And your body will start grabbing it. It already got the oxygen. The hydrogen is there. It'll bring that together and it will start producing its own distilled water. Your body produces the best water in the world for you. That's why at one level, people will say the best water is what? The water of fruits. Now we say fruits got the water. Where do they get it from? You understand? You're the tree of life. You're doing the same thing. Oh my gosh, this is good. So much is coming. Oh my gosh, where do we end? We can't. This is a wonderful experience again. And see, as you're on this journey, as your body's opening up more and more, bringing in these energies. See, even when we use that term light, see, we like to, in our language and how we were educated, being in duality do have a truth to it, and we separate things because that's what you're used to. But on the oneness frequency, everything is the same. So when I feel the heat from the sun, I feel water. I feel moisture. This is heavy now. That's why what they say, the sun is made out of hydrogen. But look at that word, hydro. That's water. That's what they're telling you. Hydrogen molecules smashing in each other to create helium and all of this. That's what they're telling you. And then I was in Israel where we did one of those ice baths one time. And I went into the ice water and stuff, and I got burned. The water was like fire. You understand? So your mind will go to another understanding on how you're looking at things now. It ain't like it was before just with these rules. The rules start breaking and everything become one. See, our minds are so powerful and we're such good creators. If you don't know something exists, you won't create it. That's why this information is so important. And you have the power to block the light or block energy due to your understanding at that time of what you want to create. Or you could break it down and open it up where you can get more of this light into you. But first you got to know that you can do it. It start out as a belief system, if that's what you want to say, but then it will become from myth to reality. You understand? And it will happen if you stay consistent.
So
no ifs, buts, and ands about it. What's that?
I want to go back into the why, because I think that as people are waking up, I had heard there's about 60,000 breatharians or pranic living people right now on the planet. And people come to this lifestyle for so many different reasons. So I just want to ask you again, why was it so important for you to take this lifestyle up?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. So we're on the same frequency. Yes, just last night I did a video and oh my gosh, it's over 2,000 views already. But it was dealing with why you want to take this journey. And the real reason should be for a better life, longevity. That's what it should be for. So we say our health is for our wealth, but the bottom line is, as you're on a health journey and you want to live this healthy life, you'll find out as you keep being in this realm that different foods, they don't be the same no more as you keep growing. See, even an old person will tell you, I can't handle that food no more. That I don't eat after that hour no more. That's natural for them to think like that.
Right.
So once we understand we got this memo now, you ain't got to wait till the body tell you, let's don't do it no more. You can give it up now so you can continue to stay healthy. You understand that? Healthy means it's more than just the longevity of just hanging around being in pain. On one level, that's still a suffering hell. Why would you want to hang around on that? But the main goal, it should be, that's why this is a health message. It is for longevity. So you can stick around, you can learn more, you can have a better life, and you can really enjoy this world like it should be enjoyed because you have another perception. Oh, man.
And I think that that's like really important. Like these days, people are dealing with a lot of different adversity, a lot of different trauma and drama and breakups and moving and houses burning down and the weather and the climate. And to make sense of all this, it's nice to be able to go to your center and stop the thought mind so that you can actually receive this data. So the breath is a part of the lifestyle. The Qigong, the energy work is a part of the lifestyle. The awareness and being present,
big time,
the cosmic flows is a part of the lifestyle.
Absolutely. This is all part of the lifestyle. And then when you start lightening up the diet and backing away from your window of consumption, you'll find out that it will be easier because you implemented those other things in the lifestyle. And you will want to stay there. See, it's one thing of coming into the light. We keep talking about the light. And light, listen at that word, L-I-G-H-T. But is it light like we're talking about the lights to come on in the house? Or as we talk about feeling lighter? It's both of them. So you got to get used to that new feeling. See, sometimes a person to come into this feeling of feeling lighter, and immediately they want to feel heavier again. And they don't know how to feel. They don't know how to respond to that new opening of awareness. So the more you start coming in and out, that's normal, that's natural. That's the mind trying to weigh it on which feels better. But over a period of time, you're going to prefer that lighter feeling, that lightness of being, that feeling of opening, that feeling of not having blockages all over the body. You can bend, you can stretch, and you're going to like that feeling, and it's going to outweigh the last feeling. See, suffering is good because it does tell you that I need to make some changes. Don't do this again. Go to this direction. See, there was a time I had a real bad diet, and if suffering wouldn't have took place on how I felt on that diet, I would still be on that diet. That's what made me move. So breatharianism, the thing about it is it makes you be truthful with yourself. So there's people on certain diet changes now, because we're in that age where everybody's trying to teach this is good for you and this is good for you. When they come my way, I can look at them and say, your body is still talking to you, that there's still some improvements that need to be made. They know that's taking place because its true state is a self-sustaining being.
Right.
I know it's talking to you.
Exactly. And when we tune into that, if the universe is taking care of the plants, and even in some of the scriptures, it says, God will take care of the birds and the trees and all of the animals. Why would we think it's not going to take care of us? The environment is taking care of it. We're the environment. We are the whole and we are the individual. And when we're having that communion with everything, a switch does go off. And I will say I'm experiencing bouts of like, imagine if your body, your tube was filled with helium, you're feeling lighter, and I'm walking around and I don't feel that density. I feel like my body's filled with air, like I'm an outline of air body. And then it is a nice feeling. It feels, I'm having these vibrations coming through my body, and I'm having these awarenesses of being lighter, like, I don't know, like I could just float.
Absolutely. It's there. And you know what? It gets better and better. That's the expansion of consciousness again. You're going through these feelings, and that's where it takes. But the more we stay on this path, the more we'll get used to it. We understand what'll start taking place. Then the body will get the memo. This is the good point. See, this is different than fasting because some people lose too much weight too fast, look unattractive. The body didn't get the memo yet. It don't know if you're sure or not. Do you really want to go through with this? You understand? But once it gets the memo when you stay consistent or dedicated, that's how we started off this. When you stay dedicated and the body gets the memo, because this is a biocomputer. And it's basically saying we reprogrammed it. It's working with these energies. You stayed here long enough. And pretty soon you will see what the weight will get to a certain point. It will stay there. And the strength will be there and everything else. But it got the memo. That's all you got to do is keep downloading it, you know, from 10%, 20%, 30%. That's what's happening. Then when it gets to 100% download, the program is going to be how you're functioning in this realm.
So when you're talking about like downloading, what percentage of prana are you operating on right now? Is it 100%?
I love that you said this. Now listen at this. People think to live on prana and to be self-sustaining, they're thinking this number of 100%. No, it's not. See, in esoteric circles, this is what's coming through. We all heard of the Masons and all of this, you know, those terms. And then they got this thing called a 33-degree Mason. Now that also represents the 33 vertebrae on your spinal cord, you know, and Jesus was 33. They're putting all that together. Once you get to 33%, you should be self-sustaining. You don't got to be 100%. See, the average person is functioning at 10%. Everybody's being sustained by prana, but they only have like 10%. So you're opening up the energy channels to receive more. So this is the good point. You got 33%, that's breatharianism. Now there's other percentages that's over this, like a 56%, 63%. That's when you start getting into teleportation, bilocation, and all of this. We got all of this coming up. Now they say in the esoteric circles that in order to maintain a physical body in this realm, it's only going to hold 80%. When you go past 80%, that's when you could take the body up in the light and go somewhere else. That's why death don't exist.
Can you scoot up to your computer just a tiny little bit so I can hear you better? Because when you start talking about teleportation, and I have to bring up a dream I had. So I'm on the lawn of the White House, okay? And I'm in this little tiny RV, and these like agents are talking to me, and they asked me to come outside the RV and get on the lawn. I'm gonna put my Baba plant. Thank you, Baba, down. So I'm on the lawn of the White House, and as I'm on the lawn, this being, which is it looks like it's human, touches my hands and starts floating me up, and I float. He's on the ground, but I'm floating up. And he says to his friend, "She's too acidic. She's too acidic." And I grounded myself. Right. I tried it again, and then I got grounded again. And he said, "She's too acidic. She can't levitate yet. Permanently, she's too acidic." And I woke up from the dream, and I was like, I was drinking heroic doses of coffee.
Right.
Morning, like sometimes 3, 4, 5 cups, sometimes a half a pot of coffee at that time. And that's when I looked into getting an alkaline water machine, and I started considering alkalinity versus acidity and density versus light. Right.
That's what it's all dealing with. See, what we're dealing with is energy, frequency, and vibration. See, there's a words we're using, but that's what we're dealing with. So we're getting over the food part as we're dealing on this journey. And like you asked that good question, to be self-sustaining or food-free, see, now listen how I'm about to say this. The average person look at it as a big thing because it's new. I've been on this path for 20 years, and I'm looking at people like this is easy. You know, it's simple. Everybody, you know, that's how I'm looking at it.
Elitom, are you, is there something wrong with the microphone? I'm getting a little tiny click. Are you hitting a microphone? Do you know? The sound changed.
All right, now how it sound?
It sounds a little better, but it still sounds like you're kind of far away.
Oh, wow. Or maybe I should put in my headphones, huh?
No, that's good. That actually fixed it. So go back to what you were saying, because I'm interested in once you get past 80%, what happens to you? 80% living on prana, then you are able to levitate and you're able to go into...
Well, no, levitation happens before that. See, this is why we got a good future taking place. All right, you hear me now?
No, you're farther away. You have to talk louder or turn up the sound. I don't know.
Oh, let me see here.
Maybe come closer to the microphone.
All right, here I go.
That's better. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear this part.
All right, so we got 33 degree, and that's basically where you have achieved being food free. So it ain't food free isn't the top thing. See, in India, they got a thing called city powers. And food freedom is a minor city power. See, it just seems big to everybody because it's new. Once this catches on more, it's going to be minor. There's other powers to come up after this. But they're at least saying you should be able to master food freedom in order to expand to other levels of consciousness. You understand? Because how you going to sit there with a physical body that's still aching, paining, and you're still thinking about food? You can't explore the higher depths of consciousness. You're thinking about other things. So once you master that minor city power, and it's minor, that's where these other things will open up to you. So like when you get to 56%, they do talk about teleportation and levitation, moving to other places. 63%, you get more abilities coming in, more of your psychic abilities pop in, which is natural. We just look at it now as a miracle, but it's not a miracle like that. And yes, you shouldn't die. About in this realm, they say that physical body can hold about 80% for a person to still be able to see you.
Still be able to what?
See you. See you.
Okay. I see. So you're talking about being able to dissolve. Now, I have seen pictures of some yogis in India. Yogi Raj, I think was one of them. He was able to dissolve in front of people. And right. I know there are some Korean masters that I studied with J.J. Hurdock when he did the Keys of Enoch in Sedona. He did a lecture, and they showed a PowerPoint of some of these high-level Qigong masters that can dissolve, departicleize their physical body.
Absolutely. And this is what it's all about. We got all of this coming on this path. That's why when you ask me that question, why would you want to become breatharian or be on this path? You should be wanting to master physical matter or master your body so you could go into these other abilities that's going to be second place. See, we're going to create a world where it is not far-fetched, where the transportation system going to change, the food system going to change, the monetary system going to change, the housing. This is what it's talking about because the human being is going to change. This can't support them no more. Oh my gosh, this gets deep.
Well, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about heaven, a heavenly state of consciousness of light on earth, our body temple. We start with our own body, and then this body becomes the projector of that light, and that projection starts sending that light back out, to which there's a feedback loop. And of course, reality is a projected, reflected hologram of I love you.
Oh, absolutely. And see, this is where it gets good. See, it's just like how when I'm going around teaching now, when I'm basically doing, like some people say, thank you, Elitom, for doing this and doing this for me, but I'm doing it for me so I can have somebody to talk to.
I'm so happy that you have somebody to talk to, because I'm here talking to you, and all the people that are listening to this, we're having a retreat on 11/11. It's a Stargate portal in Los Angeles, and you're invited. You can come and you can stay with us, and it's going to be 7 days, and then we're going to take a week break, and we're coming back for Thanksgiving week, the 25th through December the 1st, and we're going to do it again. And so if you're anywhere in the realm of interested in this subject material about lightening up your body, lightening up your heart, lightening up your mind, rebooting the new energy that's coming on the planet right here, right now. It's not far-fetched, like he said. The universe is user-friendly. Jesus even said you'll do greater things than these. It's a good idea to investigate yourself.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about right there. And see, and I realized that I will grow faster. Now listen at this. When I got myself to talk to people who's on the same consciousness, why would you want to have this knowledge all to yourself for, and everybody else is you? See, we pick each other up collectively. Every individual person is like a fragmented part of yourself. That's what it's dealing with.
the extension of consciousness. This is how deep it gets. But this is a great realization to be into. And like you said, coming into this retreat, like minds, like energy, all coming together. Oh, we're going higher and higher each time we come together doing this. This is awesome. This is awesome that we're into. Like never before.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so blessed. And every day I'm little by little, I'm getting pulled in. I'm getting pulled in. And my body is naturally taking me places, like to the yoga mat, and naturally taking me into the sunshine, and naturally taking me to the ocean to walk on the beach. And I'm feeling like my body is like regenerating. I'm feeling my body's regenerating.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about again, the regeneration, all of this stuff. See, we human beings are very, very remarkable creatures. This consciousness we possess, okay, we already seen what it could do going the other way of the lower frequency vibration. It did it. But going back the other way, we're pulling this off and we're doing it. Oh, I love it so much in this age that we're in. We are creating these things. It could go so far, we just have to keep putting it to the test, keep seeing what it can do. And I'm an example of this now, you know, on my own level. This is why I'm sharing with everybody. If I can do this, right, everybody around me can. If you come into this energy and it's leading you to it, it is here for you to work with. It's for everybody, and nobody can keep you from it because it is you.
I like that you said that, because the light is already inside of us, and that which is not light will eventually come off, and we'll be able to actually see, feel, and know who we truly are. And when we know who we truly are, we know why we're truly here. And then it's easy to be in service. It's easy to want to share. It's easy to go into telepathy, where now I can just sit with a client or a friend just for a couple of minutes and breathe with them, and immediately I understand what's going on. I mean, it's right there. It's in the field. The field is intelligent.
Right. The field of intelligence, the glue to keep everything together. And that's, like they say on Star Trek, space is the final frontier. Now we're going into consciousness as the final frontier. Everybody's coming into this game now to see how far our understanding can go. And even Einstein says something real key. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. We got to think differently. This is what it boiled down to. And like how I'm teaching here at the retreat is so amazing. See, I've been teaching this so much, so practical, that anybody could catch on. The people I'm here, there's no skeptics. Everybody understand it. We're working with the energy. Once you start working with this and, you know, really start working with yourself, you got it. It's all up to you then. Absolutely. What you want to create. But it's not far-fetched. I'm hoping people getting a lot out of this. We keep trying to say it in many different ways, you know, to make it more practical. But what it boils down to at the end of the day is you're everything. You have access to everything that you're doing. And consciousness is so powerful. If you give it a chance, which is you, it can get you out of any situation and transform you.
And it can get you into any situation and transform you, because there's a
absolutely.
lot of they can just use their creative imagination. Like right now, how can I do this retreat? How can I create this lifestyle? How can I bring more of this knowledge to myself? How can I experience more wisdom by testing this out like a scientist of my own life? I'm a scientist. Here's my petri dish. This is my experiment firsthand, so that I can see for myself my self-realization.
Right. Oh, see, we are so in tune. I was talking about that today. You are a scientist, and your body and your mind is your laboratory. It's the most expensive laboratory on this planet. You're a genius. You're going from a Homo sapien, as they call this in science, to a Homo genius. This isn't far-fetched no more. You're opening up your abdomen, which they say, don't they say the abdomen is your second brain or your first brain? You're opening that up so you can think more clearly. And then they say your heart is your what? Part of your consciousness. You understand? So that clears out the energy blockages that's radiating from your heart chakra. And your heart chakra goes out the furthest from the body You understand? Because you're more than just a physical body. There's an extension of you going way out in the universe. So when you start clearing up all these blockages, you can do and have anything you want. So that's why when we talk about these other energy levels, and I'm glad you brought that up, how is the energy level much you need to be breatharian? And I'm saying up there saying 33%. You don't even need 50% to be food free. 33%. You already got 10%.
33%, 33%. And that reminds me of the Holy Mother, the Holy Father, and the Holy Child. And that reminds me of the dark crystal, which is our higher self, our lower self, and then the innocence of our heart, our little gelfling in the center that forges the crystal back together so that it's not cracked, it's not shard, it's not fractured. We're not separate from everything. We're connected and we're corresponding with coherence to every living thing. I love you.
Every living thing. This is so great. So we got so many good things to live into. And as we're pushing this knowledge, everybody's acceptable to it. Everybody feels it. They're coming into it like never before. And like we said, this ain't even, I forgot what year it is. 2019. Wow. I mean, we done made so many tracks right now. As we go into even the next year, this is even going to be tripled around the planet without a doubt. The light is moving us so fast.
I'm so excited. I want to show you just a little bit of the temple room that you're going to be teaching in. And right now, I have little red chairs for our people, but they're filled with my daughter's stuffed animals. And so this is the living room, and this is where we're going to be meditating. And this is a nice screen. We're going to be watching some conscious films. And
all right.
This is also, too, I want to show you this again. Just a little bit
awesome. Of
beauty. I think art is extremely important because our lives are our own art. We're the artist of our own lives. And when we paint the mandalas of ourselves and ourselves, we start spinning faster and more light starts becoming apparent.
Right.
And,
awesome.
I'm going to sit down here, right here, in the little meditation chair, and I'm going to imagine you right now in the temple teaching.
That's how powerful it is, and I can feel it already. There's no separation. This is how powerful we are. No time and space. That's why, like I tell everybody, the 3 ingredients in the universe, you got the physical matter around you, you got energy around you, and you got space. Everywhere you've been and everywhere you're going, you're in those same ingredients. And now we're learning how to use them at higher levels. And this is what makes it so good. See, nature is showing us that everything is abundant around us. So abundance is already there. All we got to do is know it's ours, know it's there for us, and the universe is user-friendly. This is what it's all about.
And I also want to comment on the joy. So those of you who, Dalai Lama writes a book about how do we find happiness? Well, happiness is within, it's a state. Joy, I'm having a lot more joy coming through my face, coming through my liver, coming through my body. I feel more childlike innocence returning, where you're joyful and bubbly for no reason.
Right, absolutely. That's what it's all about. See, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like I said, people really, we hope that if the spirit leads you or the energy leads you to what? Come here to see what we're talking about, to really put your body or your mind into this cycle, you'll find out more and more what we're talking about as you're opening up. This, I would never go back on this journey. This is so good. This has been so good to me. And the curiosity will pop up, like you asked me earlier, a person to say, well, why do you want to go food free? Now I'm at the level, I want to go further because I want to see what's going to happen next. I want to see that other mode of travel, teleportation, levitation. We can do it without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, well, listen, we are coming right up on the hour, and it's been so amazing. And I know that you're in a retreat right now, so I want to be respectful of your time and your wisdom. I love you so much. I'm very excited. I'll put links at the bottom if you guys are still interested. We do have some spots left, just a few for the 11/11 portal. And then the one on the 25th, we're open. So if you're interested, please look below, click the link, get a hold of us and register. And we're gonna see each other in person before we know it.
Oh, before we know it, I'm heading straight out there. It's going to be on. We got a lot of big things to do, and we're going to do it because we're working for the light. This is what it's all about.
All right, blessings and light. I love you so much. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya.